Hello and welcome to Writer Rant, author advice in 5 minutes or less because I've got to get back to writing and so do you. So last week I kind of ranted a little bit about Facebook and Twitter and how really they're not, they're pretty good for writer resources, at least for networking and that kind of stuff, but they're really not a search engine, right? So this week I kind of want to help out a little bit and say, there are resources out there and I'll give you some hints as to what they are. And so a lot of times when I'm in, the Facebook groups or the Twitter hashtag threads, I notice a lot of authors, especially, starting out or at different parts kind of in their craft, they'll ask, there's about like 3 different things that they ask about. So early on, again, the internet is a great resource. And so, early on in your writing, use Google, use it as much as you can. Especially for research. Wikipedia, while it's kind of flawed a little bit, it's still a pretty good resource. You can at least search in, hey, what about this topic or that topic, and for the most part they're going to have that information. So Wikipedia is a good resource online to use, and so that's kind of the research part. So that's kind of the beginning part. The next step that I see a lot of people are just like, well, what should I name my character who's a Solon teen from the 1950s, and I'm just like, well, don't ask us, go out and find that name yourself. So one of the best places for that is a site called Behind the Name. Again, you just go on Google, just Behind the Name. It does surnames, it does first names, it does all that kind of stuff, and you can sort by, the nationality of the character, you can sort male or female, you can search for meanings behind the names, so that way you can have a character whose, name is Adler, and, they're supposed to be like an eagle or something like that, right? So it's kind of giving some more meaning to a name other than just something that somebody suggested on the internet that sounded good. So Behind the Name's one, other than Wikipedia, so those are 2. The next thing a lot of people ask is grammar, and so it's, there are a few resources. Again, there's Purdue's Online Writing Lab, OWL. That's a pretty good place, especially for some of the more obscure stuff in terms of grammar. But I would always suggest Grammarly, and that's a plugin that you can use both on Word and on your browser. And that kind of is a better kind of grammar check than the one that like Microsoft Word has. The premium version, it's a little bit of money. Usually you can get it on sale for a yearly subscription, so that's what I use. I really like it. It kind of helps find the weak spots in my writing, and so as I start saying, okay, yeah, that keeps popping up over and over again, I can fix it. It's not perfect, so don't completely trust Grammarly, because again, it's just kind of alert. It's a, it's not quite AI, but it is a bit of a computer algorithm that reads through your work and tries to make the best do that it can. Sometimes it gets confused. I'm like, no, you can ignore Grammarly sometimes. But it is a very good resource for grammar. And so finally, once you're all done and you got all this kind of stuff, I've seen a lot of people asking about queries. I myself asked a couple questions about queries, mostly like, do I spoil the synopsis or do I not spoil the synopsis? But really what it comes down to is there's a lot of websites out there that have agents, and they're the agency websites and literary agents. But it's kind of overwhelming. It's like, how do you condense all that down? And so I would suggest the site I found recently it's amazing. It's what the internet was made for, is Query Tracker. And so not only does this list out all the different agents and what they're looking for and kind of keeps most of their stuff up to date, but you yourself, as you query these agents, can also update it and say, hey, it took them this long to get back to me, or they said no on a form letter, or I had to submit by actually printing it out and sending it to them instead of like an email, those kind of things. So it's a great resource there. So yeah, if you're not Googling any of those resources, by all means, Google them today, search them out. So Wikipedia, obviously, Grammarly, Behind the Name, Query Tracker, and those are some great resources out there for writers. I just figured, these questions keep coming up, so obviously writers are searching for that type of stuff, or they need to be. And so, are there any other resources out there that you as a writer know of? Sorry, this is a little bit of a longer episode. Sorry, I got a lot of stuff to cover in this one. But if there's anything that you find that is a useful resource on the internet. By all means, drop a comment below, share the wealth, share the love for all of that information out there. But if there's anything that annoys you about writing, reading, reviewing, any of that kind of stuff, drop a comment below. Maybe I'll get to it in a future episode of Writer Rant. So thanks for watching this slightly longer episode of Writer Rant. I'm Benjamin M. Weilert.